We have all sorts of ones. We did this one where it was kind of a flower design. This one had a design that was, more of a circular type of thing. And they all look kind of nice. This one over here, you can see we're overlapping it. And that's what we're going to be doing a lot for this project is overlapping ones, because that shows that not only you know how to do it, but it also is a little bit more interesting sometimes when we overlap them. And then of course we even had ones that were kind of free-flowing, ones that you could kind of come up with on your own where the line is different. And all sorts of other ones too, like the 8-pointed star. But if you look for just a sec up at the screen here, I wanted to show you guys some examples of some student ones. So here's one that you can see from, as an example, would be of a finished project. Now, the student has not only used some of the designs that we've practiced, but they've also overlapped them. So for example, right here, you can see this one. They've even kind of designed their own in a sense, because that one in the middle wasn't totally the same. Here's one, and you can see that each one has a checkerboard type of pattern and used color, and it was designed really good. If you look at this one, there's actually 3 of them that are overlapped. Now, a lot of times the student will use symmetry. So in other words, if you were to put a line down the middle, this one is reflected, so you can see it's almost the same on both sides, right? That's something that with symmetry, it's kind of makes it look more balanced, more of a balanced design. Now, something like this is going to take a number of days. So for example, this student had done 5 circles, 2 on this side and 2 on this side, and they followed the similar format. But look at how much overlapping. This one is really interesting. There's, in the background, there's one. And then over here in the front, there's one. There's all sorts of different ones that are overlapping, right? So that's an example. Those are some brief examples of some ones that you guys could do for the project. Now, before we get to that point, however, what we need to do is first take a look at just a normal blank white piece of paper, okay? And what we want to do is practice how can we make designs that are overlapping, and not just overlapping, how can we make some designs that are interesting, right? So the first thing is let's take a look at maybe a circle, okay? So if you wanted to make a design, let's say that the design was, it had a circle and had something overlapping, even just something similar to this, right? Well, what would you do to start? Well, the first thing you have to do is you don't have the circle already neatly drawn for you, so you would have to kind of come up with the circle on your own. So what I want you guys to do is with your ruler, okay, I want you guys to draw a square. Now, before, usually since this is a design type of thing, if we were going to, maybe create something that looks, I just mentioned that, something like this, where you have different ones. Okay, you have a circle in the back and you have something in the front. Well, to kind of plan it out, if you were to do that, that would take a really long time to try to actually do it on your own and, try to do that one and make it look exactly like that and do all the sketching and all the different ones. It would take a long time. So what I'm going to do later, okay, is give you this paper I want to show you here. And this paper is a place that we're going to be sketching our ideas out. So if you look here, this one, okay, is just the shapes, right? So maybe the finished product would look like this on your big paper, and then this one right here, the finished product, would look like this. This is going to take a couple of days. However, the sketch won't take too long because you're just doing the shapes. So later on, and before you start the project, you'll show me, if you were to sketch something, let's say down here, well, you might say, okay, well, I want to have in the corner over here, I want in the corner something that looks like this, one that we practiced, okay? So maybe you say, okay, I want to have it symmetrical, so I'm going to have 4 of these in the corner, like this, okay? Now, does that mean on this sketch you have to use your ruler and do? No, you're just doing the shape of it, because you know in your mind you're going to have to do this. Now, how you do that, right? It's similar to how we did it with the template, where you number just the 1 through whatever number you want, and then you just number it like this. So then later on your big paper, you would have to get your ruler and number it. But what we want to do is kind of plan it out, because then maybe you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to want a circle right here, you know, I'm going to have 4 circles where the ones, you know, I'm just doing it quickly here. I'm not using a ruler or a compass or anything like that, because then you say, okay, maybe later those circles, I'm going to want it to look like this, so I'm going to put them here. And what I want you to try to do is create kind of like a design that's balanced, right? Maybe on one side it's kind of similar to the other. We looked at symmetry. And then maybe you think to your mind, okay, I kind of liked how this was overlapping in this one. So maybe, I'm just showing you guys, maybe I'll put, you know, something here. Maybe this was the four-pointed one. And this is just a quick design. And maybe you say, okay, I don't know, I'm going to put another one this way. So maybe you want to put one here or something that's going this way, and it has maybe actually you could see just the back part of it or something, right? Something like that. And this is just giving you an idea. Maybe I put one over here, and maybe one like this, okay? So this would be like a quick sketch, and you could say, okay, I've used a variety of shapes, check, okay? Variety of shapes, so it can't just be the same one that you use over and over. Maybe you say, okay, they need to overlap, check, so you have a couple that are overlapping, and maybe here you say, well, it's not really overlapping, so maybe I'll put one here that it's going to go through, and it would overlap, right? Something like that. It's hard to see, but maybe something behind it, right? So these kind of things, and you can say, okay, check, I have overlapping, I have, and then I'm going to fill it in with checkerboards. And so this would be an example here of one that the finished product is going to look like this. Now this one, you could also use some of the other ones that we've done, such as the free-flowing one. You know, you could maybe, this could be in the shape of a letter or another shape, another interesting shape. But you want it to appear balanced, okay? You want it to appear symmetrical, and you probably want it to appear, it's neat, because the finished one, like I was showing you before, is going to be colored in with checkerboard type of patterns, okay? Now, you can go, a little bit, think a little bit outside the box if you want. Here's another example. Let me just show you a few examples here. If you look up on the screen. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Here's a few more examples for you. Now you can see this student, I think, used marker, but you can see how it took some time, right? If you really want to use a different parabolic curve, you can blend them, you can see, but you see how they've used a variety of shapes that we've practiced. They overlap. Not all of them have to overlap, but a number of them have to overlap, and then you have a checkerboard. So that's going to take a number of days to get to that point. But what I want to show you right now is, before we sketch the ideas, and then maybe tomorrow or something you'll show me just the basic ones. You want to have 2 different ones. It can go vertical or horizontal. Remember, you're not filling this one in with checkerboards. It's just the shapes. Then after that, then you can get your project paper to start. And again, your goal is to create one that demonstrates a range of depth and creative thinking skills. So we want to have kind of a good intention and explore ideas. And these were the different ones that we've done and practiced. And then you can use, a variety of those, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. You could use all of them if you want, but you could use them. Maybe you want to use the heart one or whatever. And then you can, here's a couple of ideas that you would do later for the big paper. So to get to that point, the reason why I wanted to spend some time is I want you guys to practice just a few things, because if we're going to be overlapping shapes and stuff, well, how do we do that? So the first thing you want to do is think back to some of the ones that we've done. So for example, this one was one of the first ones we did that looks like this. Now that one is a simple 90-degree angle. Very simple. So why don't we try that one? And what you would do with this is you would simply just take your pencil, okay, if you wanted to create something of this nature, and let's just draw two lines, okay? This is a very simple one to start. So we'll just draw, let's draw a line. Let's actually, let's do this actually, why not? Instead of doing it just randomly, why don't we do it where the side of the paper, the corner of the paper, and let me actually on this, get rid of this white paper so I can easily see the corner. Let's do this where the corner of the paper is actually going to mirror this corner. Because wouldn't that be kind of interesting? Maybe you can put something in the corner. So let's do this with our ruler. This paper that we're using is about 8.5. So why don't we do this? With your ruler, go down about 3 inches or so. So mark out about 3. If you're not very good at rulers, all you have to do is just get a piece of paper. It doesn't matter what kind of paper. And you can just literally put the paper right here, and at some point put a little dot like that, and that would give you an idea on the other side of how far to go over. You can see right here. But I think it is going to be important at least to use some sort of a ruler. So let's mark it off at 3. I want everyone to follow along with this, because this way you kind of know what to do. And then, this one had 26 different numbers, but you don't have to follow that to the T. You could just do, 12 or something like that. And let's do every 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to mark it here. Every 1/4 of an inch. Just get any paper right over here. Just get a white paper and then just mark it. So basically what we're trying to do is just make it so it's evenly spaced out. And I'm going to see, I don't even know how many this will be, but I'm going to try it here and see. So this would be my number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, now I'm just going to put a little dot. Basically, I just did 3 inches by 3 inches. We're going to do 3 inches this way, and then every 1/4 of an inch. Now, you might want to do every 1/2 of an inch. Maybe you want to make this one go further out. But all we're doing is copying. We're just copying exactly what we practiced. That's it. We're not reinventing the wheel. We already did this 100 times from different ways. Actually, 8 different times. But this one's very common. Why is this one common? Because this one, if you know how to do that first part, you can also do this one. You can also do the 4-pointed star, right? Because in a sense, it's just that same design 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay? If you know how to do that one, you can also do the 8-pointed star. Because this one, right, was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The only difference is this was at a 45-degree angle. So if you wanted it to make this one, you would, same thing, you would just create the numbers and you could design it this way. So it's the same thing that we've already done. And if you know how to do that basic one, then you could even do this flower design, because in a sense, once you know how to do this one, right, you're just putting them together, because that shape right there, this shape right here is done twice here, twice here, twice here. We just put them all together. So a lot of the ones that we've done are based off of this simple geometric one or simple parabolic curve, where you literally just put some dots in there and then just draw the dots. Now the key on this one, right, is that if you put the 1 right here, okay, don't put the next 1 right next to it. It has to be further across. Okay, so you're going to connect 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, and then your lines will never, you'll never place two similar numbers right next to each other. So let's try this one again. So I did it simple up to 3. Now this one's going to be 1, 2, same thing. I'm just putting a little dot every 1/4 of an inch. Let's say, I'll show you a way if you get confused with rulers, I'll show you how to do it as well. So here, we don't want to put 1 next to 1, right? You're going to put number 12 next to there, okay? So basically, this is similar to, if I turn it this way, right? This would be very similar to this, where you have, and so then the 12 would be over here, and the number, so the 12 would be 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? And that would be an example of how to set this one up. Now for this design, for these to be balanced and symmetrical and different things, well, if you remember, you think back to some of the student examples, right? You can see here, it doesn't have to look exactly like this one, but you can see here, this one there was a green one in the corner here, 2, 3, and 4. Therefore, if you made your own design, you'd have to duplicate it different times. So it is helpful we're just practicing how to do that, but if you're going to do this one, let's say you say, okay, how do I do it? I forget. Well, besides the fact that we've practiced it, and we've had the videos and that sort of thing in the past, you could just say to yourself, well, I've done this before, so all I know is that my number 12 has to go to the number 12. And then my 11 is going to go to 11. And just like we practiced the other one, see, this is how you would make your own. And then the 10 to the 10. So you might want to have yours a little bigger, a little smaller, but that's basically how we would do that. And then all of the ones are done with just making sure that the numbers are equally spaced out. Now, what you don't want to do is not use a ruler and just kind of, just real quickly, just put any dot and you don't measure, then it's not going to look right. Okay? And then 4 to 4, 3 to 3. And so this one, 2 to 2, and 1 to 1. So you can see that I've just created one here. If this was my design, well, then what I would do is, there you go. If this was my design, then I would probably want to repeat it multiple times. So if I'm not going to do that in this situation, but I might want to, let's say this was my project paper, I would say, okay, maybe I want to make that here, 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 and here. It could be interesting because it's symmetrical. That's a basic way. Maybe you want to make it different. Now, at the end, we're going to be, filling it in with colors and stuff. But at the beginning, what we want to do is, like I was mentioning before, first plan it out. So if this one here is the one I'm planning out, maybe all I would do is just say, okay, I'm just going to put in the corner 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So then I have an idea of what it's going to look like. But we just practiced that one. Now, if you were going to overlap it, we did a whole worksheet where we practiced what it would look like if you overlap it. Remember, the key to the overlapping is that you start with the one in the front first. So if I was going to do this, I would first, draw the circle, then draw the little cross, put the numbers, and do the one in the front. And then when I do the one in the back, I would just stop right when it hits that one. So let's practice actually speaking of a circle. Let's say that we wanted, this was our paper or something, we wanted to do a circle. Well, the easiest way to do a circle is by making a square. So real quick, because I'm going to let you guys kind of, think about this too. The learning takes place when you do it. But if I take a square, how do you find the middle of your paper? If you draw an X, okay? So if I draw an X from the corner to the corner, this ruler's a little short, but I can get pretty much right there. If I draw an X from the corner of the paper, then I know the center is right here, okay? So that's going to be my center of the paper because from the corner of the paper, I drew an X, okay? So now I know that's the center. So all I would have to do is go up from the center. Let me just go up 2. That's a good. So 2 here. Actually, I'll go a little bit bigger. Let me go 3. 3 to here. 3 to here. Okay. Now draw lightly because you have to erase. But if I, from the center, now how could you do it without a ruler? You could mark from the tip of your thumb to the tip of the pencil, and then just go like that and mark it. And you do that 4 times. But now I know that's where where it should be. And then if you want to draw a circle, here's all you do is you just go like this and connect it. Make sure it doesn't look too egg-shaped. So you go out a little bit like this, and then you go over here. All I did was just draw 3 or 4, not 3, but 4 equally spaced lines from the center. Then I'm going to go like this and connect it. I might have to fix it in a little bit. This is just a quick sketch. And then over here, okay. Now let's see if it looks like a donut. It's probably close. It's probably pretty close. It's easier to see. It's really big on the screen. You can see if I really messed up or not. But that's probably pretty close, right? Now, I can kind of get an idea of this looks pretty good for a circle, okay? I can fix it just a little bit. Now, all you'd have to do then is once it kind of looks like a circle and it doesn't look like a football shape, it'll look like a football shape if you don't go out enough. Then I could just remember, okay, what did we do before? Well, we had one in the middle, so look, this one is already kind of done for me, isn't it? So what I could do, this one in the middle, I could just number it just like we did. I could say, okay, I'm going to put a dot every 1/4 of an inch. A dot every 1/4 of an inch. That one's already done. So I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? And then I know, I'll just do one corner here. Then I know I can go this way because it's already the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that I could number this one. 12. Now you don't have to number them, but I do sometimes just for the demonstration. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's it. That's an idea, okay? And then I have the circle behind it. So remember how we did with the other circle? It doesn't matter the number as long as they're equally spaced out. So what you could do is to start, I'm going to put a little dot right here. And I'll say start right here where this one is. And then I'm just going to make a diagonal. And I'll start at the other one right here. And we'll call this one number 1 and this one number 1. And then all you'd have to do, okay, is just pick a distance You could even just use a little piece of paper and mark it, but I'll just keep it kind of simple on this one. I'm just going to do every 1/2 of an inch. So I'm just literally going to go around with my ruler and just mark it every 1/2 an inch. So I go 1/2 an inch, 1/2 an inch, all the way around. Okay, so this would be an idea. Make sure it's falling right on the circle here. And I'm going to spin it a little bit of how you could do it. All you do is you just draw the circle by finding or drawing 4 lines that are equally spaced. Then you draw your circle. Okay, and then here you could see that if I were to go all the way around, I'm starting here, so this could be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I won't go all the way around because we've already done this, but this one is going to look very similar, or it should look similar to this one that we did, right? And you can see, and all I'm doing is just spacing them equally. I just did a 1/2 an inch spacing. You could do an inch spacing, 1/4 of an inch, whatever. And then this one, I just do a 1/2 of an inch spacing. So this would be 1 here, and 1 here, and 1 here. So this would be 2 and 3 and 4. And so then if I were to later on do my design, I would make sure that I do the one in the front first. Therefore, you always do the one, if you overlap it, you always do the one in the front first. You see? Now, you might want to also, maybe you want to create and be creative and you want to add some of those free-flowing designs that we did. Maybe you want to do the flower pattern, or maybe you want to do, this one would be interesting. Maybe you say, I want to, instead of just the other one, I want to make this, right? Well, how would we make this one? Well, if you think back to the template, this one had 2 squares that were just, this one was just turned a little bit, overlapping, okay? And so there's all sorts of different ways that you want to do it. But if once I, this would probably not be enough for the project, so I might say, okay, let me think back to kind of some of the sketches, maybe the sketch looked like this or like this. And so you say, okay, some overlapping ones. Well, maybe I want to put another one, I have this one overlapping, and maybe I want to put, some more circles or something that works a little bit better for the design. So here's one more that I'll show you here. If you look up for the design, this one is not completely symmetrical, but you can see how interesting this one is, right? It has, the red is overlapping the yellow if you look up here, the blue is in the background, and you have an 8-pointed star. So something like this is going to take it's going to take some time. You can't just do this in a day or two. It's going to take a good amount of time, and quality is better than quantity. But if we were doing this one, then on your sketches, it would just be the shapes, but then once you start the project, then we're going to kind of start measuring, getting everything, making sure that we have enough overlapping shapes, that we have a little bit of variety. We don't just use the same 1 or 2 over and over. And then after that, then we could take our time with the nice colors, with the shapes, and we could create a nice drawing, okay? So what we need to do right now is everybody's going to get, this was just the practice one, just to kind of show you. I didn't do much, I just did 2 or 3 designs, but just to show you, kind of how on your paper you could start doing it. But what I need from everyone right now is to get, we're going to get this paper. And again, I have to say this 10 times because people sometimes forget. Do not do the checkerboard and do not draw lines on this one. This is only the shape. So for example, later, if this was going to be your final one where it's all shaded in and all the numbers and all the lines and all the measurements, all you need to do is the shapes for now. Okay, it's just going to tell you where it goes. All right, so we're going to do that. You're going to get your design in there, and then after you get your design, then we'll start making it happen where we translate it from here to something like this where it's a final drawing over the next few days. Okay.